I'm going to give a presentation on the topic Workplace Health Hazards. Basically, every workplace has hazards. As an employer, you have the legal responsibility to look after your employees' safety and protect them against the health and safety hazards at work. In order to manage a workplace health and safety and to help prevent accidents and sickness absence, it's important to identify, monitor, and reduce the risk associated with workplace hazards. What are workplace hazards? Simply, workplace hazards are any aspects of work that cause health and safety risks and have the potential to harm. Some hazards are more likely to be present in some workplaces than others, and depending on the work that you do, there will be hazards that are more or less relevant to your business. Now, what are the common workplace hazards or types of workplace hazards? There are basically 4 types. First is physical hazards. Physical hazards are the most common at workplace, including vibration, noise, and slips, trips, and falls. Next is chemical hazards. Chemical hazards are any hazardous substances that can cause you harm or that can cause harm to your employees. Next is biological hazards. Bacteria and viruses that can cause health effects such as hepatitis, HIV, or AIDS. Ergonomic hazards. Physical factors that harm the musculoskeletal system such as repetitive movement, manual handling, etc. Now, let's get in with an example of each. First is physical hazard. Example for this is fires. Every workplace is at risk of fire. However, some workplaces are an increased risk, either due to work activities or types or employees or residents. For example, care homes, schools, hotels, organizations that carry out hot work, food manufacturers, and restaurants. Fires can be devastating both to the organization and to the people impacted. They can cause serious injuries such as burns and fatalities. Next is chemical hazards. For chemical hazards, we can say it as hair dye. Hair dyes, shampoos, conditioners, and henna products, we use it at home without considering the risks. However, hair dye and the other products, among the other substances, are regularly found in hair and beauty salons, can be causing a serious health impacts if you use it without the proper precautions. Next is biological hazards. For biological hazards, we can say it as a blood-borne diseases like HIV. Blood-borne diseases are viruses or a bacteria that can cause transmitted through contact with the infected blood or bodily fluids. Those most at risk from blood-borne diseases are those working in the health sector, for example, doctors, nurses, and dentists. However, many other professionals can be at risk, such as cleaners, waste and refuse collectors, street cleaners, park keepers, and tattoo artists. Simply put, anyone who might encounter sharps at work is at risk. Incidents that pose a risk for a blood-borne disease transmission can have a serious health and psychological impacts. Next is ergonomic hazards. Manual handling is an example. Manual handling occurs every time you lift, put down, or move a load using your hands or bodily force. Poor manual handling techniques can have a serious consequences unless employees are appropriately trained in their duties. These include a long-term damage to the individual's musculoskeletal systems and mental health. Now, common types of safety hazards at workplace are of three things. First is slip, trip, and falls. Second, being caught in or stuck by a moving machinery or other objects. Third is transportation and vehicle related accidents. First, slip, trips, and falls. Bad housekeeping and a poor drainage can make the floors and other walking surfaces wet and slippery. Another example, electrical wires along the floor pose a tripping hazard, and you can also fall if you are not provided with the fall protection equipment, guardrails, and safe ladders. These are some examples of slip, trips, and falls. Next is caught in or stuck by a moving machinery. Machinery can cause injuries in different ways. You can get parts of your body caught in or stuck by exposed to the moving parts if the machines are not properly guarded or not locked during it is repaired. You can be stuck by flying objects from machines without proper protective guards. Next is transportation and vehicle related accidents. Operators of vehicles and equipment can be injured or cause injury to the pedestrians if the equipment is unsafe or if adequate training has not been provided. You can seriously injure or be killed after being hit by a vehicle while repairing roads or doing other work in the traffic zones. This danger exists when the traffic is not properly routed or adequate barriers are not placed between the workers and the traffic. The next topic which we are going to see is the common health risks caused by these hazards. The common health risks are breathing problems, skin irritation, damage to muscles, bones, and joints, hearing damage, and reduced well-being. Next, how can we prevent the workplace hazards? The best way to protect yourself and your employees from the workplace hazards is to identify them and take responsible steps to prevent their potential to harm. In order to control the workplace hazards and eliminate or reduce the risk, you should take the following steps or preventive steps. Those steps are: the first step is to identify the hazard by carrying out a workplace risk assessment. Next step is to evaluate the risk. Third step is to determine how the employees might be at risk. And the final step is to record and review or evaluate the hazards at least annually or earlier if something changes. By this, I conclude and I strongly believe you could have got an idea of what are the workplace health hazards topic is about. Thank you.